because only the person mouth and nose has to be in a place which is tall, like it says called in the Neshama Talil. And according to Rav Chisda, you can't say Kriyat Shema because it says called Atzmoisai Toimarno, so the whole body needs to be clean. But everyone agrees that when there's tzoya, which a person has in the mokom of the tzoya, so then it's nafisha zuamo, because it never came out, it has more zuamo, so then if there's tzoya there, so then it's for sure a problem. Now the Gemara speaks out that if it's not nires even when he's sitting, so then it's for sure okay, because lo nitna Torah lemalochi hashoreis. So we're talking in a case that when he stands, it's not showing, and when he sits, it is showing, so that's a problem. He can't daven until he cleans himself. Okay, there's a halacha in the seudo and a meal that if a person goes out to be matil mayim, so then he only needs to wash one hand. But if he went outside and he spoke to his friend and he forgot about continuing the meal, so then we assume he had a seach hadas. When a person doesn't think about it, so his hand touched different covered places in his body, the head, the shoes or something, so then he needs to wash both hands. Now, when he does this netilat yadayim, we want to make sure that no one is choshed him that he didn't do it, so therefore he needs to sit in his place and then wash the hands, and then the shamish take it out and ask if anyone else wants, and people realize he did netilat yadayim. But the Gemara says that applies only if he's planning on drinking. And then we worry that maybe he's going to eat something without doing netilat, that people will be choshed he ate without netilat yadayim. But if he's coming and eating immediately, everyone understands that he for sure washed his hand, because otherwise people don't like to eat with dirty hands. Ram Yitzchak says that for him, even for drinking, since everyone knows that he's an istanis, it bothers him when it's not perfectly clean, so everyone knows that he for sure washed his hands, he doesn't need to wash in front of other people. The next Mishnah is saying like this, that no one is allowed to go into the Azara, even if he's a Tor, until he's Toivel. So this will be this daf, and then the Gemara discusses that there's 5 Tvilos and 10 Kiddushim that the Kohen Gadol is doing on Yom Kippur. Every time he switches clothes, he does 2 Kiddushim, he really does a Tvila, and every Tvila comes with 2 Kiddushim. We'll see exactly how it's set on Daf Lamed Aleph Be'ezer Hashem. And Daf Lamed Aleph, Daf Lamed Beis coming up. The Gemara says all the Tvilos are in the Kodesh, in Beis HaParvo, which is right when you come into the Azara on the left side. So then there's a mikveh, if you can see. There's a mikveh there on Beis HaParvo, and the other one is on top of the Beis HaMayim, which is this gate, the first gate on the left. If you're coming in from Sha'ar Nikono, the first gate on the left, on top of it, there's Mokom Tvila, which is B'choil. So the first Tvila, since he's coming from outside, he needs to do it over there. The Gemara says that they put a sodin, a boots, sodin which is made out of linen between him and the Am, so for tznius, and then he's toivel. They asked Ben Soima, what's the reason of this tvila? So basically we see there's 3 different opinions of exactly what is this tvila. So according to Ben Soima, it's a din deoraisa. We learn it in a Kal Vachomer. If the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, when he changes his clothes from Kodesh clothes to Kodesh clothes, and he's already inside the Beis HaMikdash, he needs to do tvila. So if a person comes from outside, which he comes from a place which is not onush kores, if he's tummy and he's coming in, he for sure needs tvila, it's a din deoraisa. So therefore, if he didn't do the tvila, the Gemara says even according to Ben Zayma, it's not leikuva, but he's over on a deoraisa, which requires tvila. Rabbi says it's a reminder. A person just toivel, it's a derabanan, it's a reminder. A person is toivel, so he thinks maybe he became tummy. The Gemara says, so according to Rabbi Yudo, there's also a kula. By Metzoira, since he's toivel the day before, so he already was toivel with having in mind to go into the Beis HaMikdash. So as long as he had in mind the day before to go into the Beis HaMikdash, so it's good enough. He doesn't have to be toivel in the morning before he comes in. Now there's this third shita. The third shita is the shita of Chachamim, that only a Metzoira needs to be toivel before he comes into the Beis HaMikdash. Therefore, the lishka of the Metzoiraim, which is the top right, just before Sha'ar Nikono in Ezras Nashim, there was a mikveh there for the Metzoiraim. And because since Metzoira is Daish Betuma, he's used to being Nitma all the time, so therefore we're more worried about him, and therefore we require him at Tvila in the morning before he's putting his hands in for the behoinois, in order, and sand in his leg, his ear, because Metzoiro is more Maltzu in Tuma, so we established the Takono only for him. Now the Gemara points out that if a Kohen didn't do Kiddush Yadayim Raglayim Shachris, his Avodah is possible. All the other things, all the Tvilos and the Kiddushim are not Leikuva. You have to do them, but they're not Leikuva. The Gemara also says that if a person was Masiach Das from coming into the Beis HaMikdash, he was Masiach Das from watching himself from becoming Tomei, so then he needs Hazor Shlishi V'Shvi, because we word maybe went into an Oyel HaMeis, not realizing, and he needs Hazor Shlishi V'Shvi. Okay. Okay. The Gemara says, Abaye asked Rav Yosef, if this Tvilo, since it's only a reminder according to Rabbi Yudo, do we say that this Chatzitza will be a problem or not? So he said anything Chachami made a Takono, they made it like the Oraiso, so therefore it is a problem, Chatzitza, even for this Tvilo, that it's just a reminder. Okay, so now, Be'ezer Hashem, where did we stop yesterday? Oh, so we stopped yesterday that they killed the boy coming up, and the Gemara says that he said that they're going to need to bring a Negel Arufa, but the Gemara says Yerushalayim doesn't need to bring a Negel Arufa, it's Chaf Gimel, now Chaf Gimel Amud Beis. And also, Negel Arufa is only when we don't know who killed him. So he just said it, Lehabois Bebchio. Now the father of the Tino came and saw that he's dying. He said he's not dead yet. So you see that, and he should be your kapara, but the knife is still told. As we saw, since Menashe killed many people, the sensitivity of people to people dying wasn't so strong, so it was, even the Taharas Kelim was more than that. The Gemara says, brings a machlokes. It says in the pasuk Uposhat velovash begodim acherim by hoitzoas adeshen. Right? We know there's trumas adeshen every day, taking a little bit off the mizbeach and putting it next to the mizbeach on the floor, according to many opinions, to what got swallowed in the place. So, and then after that, you take everything and you put it in the middle of the mizbeach, and then hoitzoas adeshen is taking what's in the middle of the mizbeach out to make room. So this hoitzoas adeshen, Tanekama says that he needs to wear the 4 begodim of a kohen, but he wears begodim which are on a lower quality because it's not becovered that you do the same clothes for preparing the food and serving the food to your master. Rab Lezer Oimer that the acherim vehoitzi, he learns that kohen, which is a Baal Mum, can take out the deshen. So according to Rish Lakish, the same machlokes which we have about taking out the deshen is the same machlokes by trumas adeshen. But Rabbi Yochanan says no. The whole machlokes is by taking it out, but taking the trumas adeshen is a proper avodah and requires a proper kohen and begodim and everything. Now, according to Rish Lakish, who says in the Shita of Rab Lezer that it doesn't require kohen, it can be used even a kohen Baal Mum, so he holds that it can be also done with 2 kelim, because the pasuk only mentions the michnasayim and the ktoines. Now, according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's the Torah mentions over here the michnasayim and the ktoines for reasons. The ktoines come to teach me the size, that it should be perfect size. The michnasayim come to teach me that it should be the first thing on his body. Rish Lakish learns it from the extra words. The Gemara suggests that perhaps it's a machlokes tanoim. We have machlokes tanoim on the word yilbash. What does it come to add? So is it come to add mitznefes and avnet, according to Rabbi Yehuda? So according to Rabbi Yehuda, you see you need 4 begodim. And Rabbi Daisa says it comes to teach me that the begodim of Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur can be used for a Kohen Hediyot. So the Gemara says no. Even Rabbi Daisa agrees that you need all 4 begodim. He just understands it from a svara. If the Torah requires toines and michnasayim of a Kohen, it means that you need all 4, because otherwise you can just use any clothes, because there's no difference between 2 clothes of a Kohen or 3 to 0. It's all the same until he has the whole 4. It doesn't have the shem big de kehuna. The Gemara brings over here that Rebbe is choylek on Rabbi Daisa, who says that you can use the begodim of Kohen Gadol, the big delovon of Kohen Gadol, to avoid of Kohen Hediyot. First of all, because the avnet is different. It's not the same avnet. The avnet, according to Rebbe, of a Kohen Hediyot, the whole year is kilayim. In the avnet of the Kohen Gadol, all his clothes is made out of linen. And also, another nafkamina, another question that Rebbe has: how is it possible that the clothes which were used for kedusha chamura will be used for kedusha kalo? So according to Rebbe, the word dilbash comes to say that also worn out clothes is good enough for the Tumas Sadeshen and also for any other avodah. And v'inicham sham, according to Rebbe, it means that you need to put the clothes of the kohen in gniza, and according to Rabbi Doiso, it means just you can't use it for another Yom Kippur. Okay, Rabbi Avin asks, how much you need to take by Trumas Hadeshen? And the answer is that we learned Zeir Shava from Mincha, the same way that by Mincha you take in a koimetz, also by Trumas Hadeshen it's a koimetz. So Rashi points out that koimetz means the minimum is a koimetz because he's not going to actually use his hand to pick up burn hot coals, right? So it means the minimum amount is koimetz, but it can be more. Rav says that for avodos, Azar is chayav and the Misa, which they have two qualities. They have to have also the quality of finishing, that there's nothing done after that, it's the end, and also that it's something that you do and not something you take. Now, according to Levi, in the Mizbeach HaChitzon, even taking. So what are these avodos? The zriko, any type of zrikas adam, or zriko, whether it's inside or outside, or the milika of an oif, or the zriko of the shemen by Tzoiro, by Nozir. So all these avodos are by Metzoiro, there's loik shemen in the heichol. So all these avodos are considered zriko. Now aktara is anything you burn, either in the mizbeach hapnimi or in the mizbeach hachitzoin. All these are considered aktara, or the ktores you bring inside. And now nisuch hamayim and nisuch hayayin, which are also things which are end of avodah and something you put. According to Levi, also Tumas Hadeshen, because Levi learns that the putting applies only to putting in the heichol or in Kodesh HaKodashim, and not taking away. But outside, even taking out is considered an avodah, so therefore the Tumas Hadeshen is considered an avodah. Rava asks, okay, Rava speaks about the siluk and the heichal also not, and then the Gemara speaks out different things why there's no chiyuv. There's no chiyuv for Azar if he's mesadar the shulchan, because after you put the bread on the shulchan, you have to put the bazichim. And the bazichim is not chaya because there's taking them off, and then after taking them off, you do haktara. And haktara, as we know, is chaya for everything. If Azar is mesadar, the menorah is not chaya because after that there's putting ptilo. After putting ptilo, there's putting oil, and after that there's lighting, and lighting is not considered an avodah, even though by the mizbeach it is considered an avodah to light the mizbeach, but lighting of the menorah is not an avodah. According to everyone, taking out the machto or cleaning the mizbeach or cleaning the menorah is not considered something which Azar will be chayav miso, because it's an avodah of siluk which is inside. Okay, the zar which is mesadar the ma'arocha is not chayav because after that there's a sidur of shnei gizrei eitzim. According to Rabbi Yochanan, the sidur shnei gizrei eitzim is considered the end, so it is chayav. But according to Rav and Levi, the sidur shnei gizrei eitzim is not chayav because after that comes the sidur of the evorim, so the gizrei eitzim is not considered the end. Okay, now there's a brayso like Rav and a brayso like Levi. The Gemara says that the reason that we don't make all the payosles together when they're together the first time, we tell everyone to go out and then come back, is to make a matzav in the azara, like it says in the pasuk, to make noise of coming in a movement. It's a kavod. The Gemara brings a machlokes. In what clothes do we do the pais? According to Rav Nachman, we do it in big dechayil. And the reason is because if the koyanim will be wearing big kodesh, we worry that Baal Ezroyos will jump ahead and do the avodah without the hagrola. According to Rav Sheshes, we do it in big kodesh because we're worried that after they win, the koyanim will run and do the avodah. So if they're not wearing the big kehuna, it will be a problem. The Gemara says that there's a Mishnah. The Mishnah says that after the lotteries, they give the kohanim to the chazanim, and they took off their clothes and they left on them only the michnasayim. So according to everyone, this michnasayim means the michnasayim of kodesh. Just the order is different. According to Rav Nachman, it means that the Kohen took off his michnasayim and then put the michnasayim of Kodesh under, and then took off all his clothes in order to get started for working. And it's the people who won the pies, and according to Rav Sheshes, it's the people who lost. They take all their clothes off and leave on them the michnasayim in order to go wear their own clothes and give back the michnasayim also. Rav Sheshes proves his shito from the fact it says that Lishkas Agozis was a big room, tall room, and the pies was done in the east, and there was a zokein from the Sanhedrin, which was sitting on the west, teaching them how to do the lottery. The Koyanim was standing in a circle, and the Memuna comes and take a mitznefes from the head of one of them, and we know that from him we're starting the count. So he says, how does he have a mitznefes if he's wearing bigdei chol? So the Gemara answers that it's possible to come from home with a mitznefes, like Rav Yehuda says the name of Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda, that the Kohen that his mother made him garments to use is a bigdei keuno. He can work with it in the Beis Hamikdash avodas yachid. Okay. Abaye says from the fact that we saw how the spice is done, we know that the Lishkas Agozis, half of it is in the Kodesh and half of it is in the Chayil. And it has two doors, one to the Kodesh and one to the Chayil, because if a Lishka is open to the Kodesh only, so even if it's 100% in the Chayil, it's considered Kodesh. And if it's 100% in the Kodesh, but the door is only to outside, so it's considered Chayil. Just if part of it is in and part of it is out, so then we go, wherever is the door to the Kodesh, it's considered Kodesh. Wherever the door to the Chol, it's considered Chayil. So different opinions how exactly it was cut over here, where the doors were and how it was cut. So you can take a look at the different pictures in the pictures books. Okay. The Mishnah says, Pais Hasheni. How much time we have to Ma'ariv? 5 minutes. Wow. It's going quick. Pais Hasheni. So what's the second Pais? So there's 13 Kohanim, which are Zoichet, the second Pais. The first one does the Shchita. The second one does the Zriko. He does also the Kabbalah, as the Gemara says. He does the Kabbalah. Then the next one in line, they go in line to the right of the person who won. The next one does cleaning of the Mizbeach HaPnimi. The next one, cleaning the Menorah. Then the coming 6 people will be Male, the Evorim Lakevesh. The first one is the Rosh and the Regel, then the 2 hands, then the Oiketz in the left foot, then the Chaz and the Geira, which is the front, including the lungs and the heart and the liver that comes with it. Then the 2 sides of the animal, and then the Kravaim, the inners, and then there's another one with the soiles of the Mincha, then there's the Chavitin of the Kohen Gadol and the wine. Ben Azai says, according to Rabbi Akiva, in the name of Yeshua, Derech Hilucho Yakorev, meaning we start from the head, then the Chaz and the Gero, the hands, the Tfonois, then the back leg, and there's a Shita, the Derech Sheitoi, which is going the other direction. Then the Gemara brings also, there's a Shita of Derech Nituchoi, and there's another Shita, the Shita of the Mishnah, it goes by the size, and there's another Shita that goes by the fat. Okay, the Gemara just speaks out that when they're doing the pies, they're doing 4 times they're getting together, and every time they do a pies for multiple avodos, it's not the pies. They're not doing 13 payel sois. It's 1 pies that includes all 13 people. The Gemara proves another nice proof that the person who shechts doesn't do the Kabbalah, because Kabbalah is an avodah, and it says that Ben Katin, which was one of the Koyanim Gedolim, made 12 faucets to the kio, so the whole 12 Koyanim, which deal with the Tamid, can do Kiddush Yadayim v'Raglayim together. So it means that the one which is doing Shchito didn't do Kiddush Yadayim v'Raglayim, and the reason is because he wasn't working in the Beis Hamikdash. He did a Shchito, it's an avodah, but it's an avodah which is kosher and azar, so there's no need for Kiddush Yadayim v'Raglayim. Okay, the Gemara just points out that when the animal is chusho, it's skinny, so then the leg is a better piece than the shoulder, but when it's fat, so it's the other way around. Okay, the Gemara says, according to all opinions, the head goes first with the right leg. The reason the head goes first because the pasuk says you put the rosh and the pedal, and it says twice also to say how you put it, that the pedal should cover the place of the shchita. feather is like a blanket, a white blanket, so it's the kovot shel mala, and the right leg accompanies it because the head has a lot of bones, so we accompany it with the leg, which has a lot of meat. How much time? 2 minutes. Okay, let's try doing a pais ashlishi. So the third pais was chadoshim ektoires b'ove afisu. The new people that never did ketores before should come and do it. And the reason is we always give it to new people because it makes a person rich. As the pasuk says, "Yesim ketore be'apecha," and then it says, "Borech Hashem chiloi." The Gemara asked, it says, "V'chol ilal mizbechecha" in that pasuk, which means in oila. But the Gemara answers that this is not common. And the way Rashi explains is that since richness, shirus is not common, so obviously it's going on a type of korban which is not common and not on the oila. Rava says if you find a Talmid Chacham, which is moiri, knows how to be mechaven la'alocha, he must be coming either from Shevet Levi or from Shevet Yisachar. The Gemara says that Yehuda also were mechoikek. They taught people halacha, but what we're talking about over here is a suke shmaita liba de ilchesot, to know how to learn the sugya and to come out with the right halacha, that the halacha will be like them. That's unique to Shevet Yisachar and Shevet Levi. Tais Rishonim points out that the mother can also come from this Shevet. It's good enough. Tais Tarosh, go out on the side. Okay, Rav Yechanan says that there's no pies for Tomit Sheben Arbaim, the same koyanim which 1 in the morning get it at night. On Shabbos, though, we for sure do another pies because on Shabbos the mishmoros are switching and the koyanim which did it in the morning are not working in the Beis Hamikdash in the afternoon. By Ktoires also, we do a special pies in the afternoon also because obviously it's mashir and we don't want the same kohen to do it twice, so we give other koyanim the opportunity. Okay, shkoyach.